every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. You think about it, we rant about it. Listen to us live on Facebook.
Hey everybody, David Solomon here, flying solo today. Unfortunately, my good friend and colleague Stuart Brisgel is unavailable today, so that leaves me. And if you saw the Facebook postings or whatever, and you were saying, hey, whatever happened to that thing about labor shortage, that'll be next week. That'll be on Monday. Stuart will be back because we both have some really serious issues about that. So stay tuned for that. And here we are at the end of the week. It is a Friday, and usually we want to talk about light things, we want to talk about fun things, we want to talk about great things, but the world we're in is still in the crapper, and it is absolutely incredible how we're still stuck in this COVID business. Now, if you're in the United States, you're right now experiencing in some states some ridiculous numbers that are exploding. What the science has discovered was that the vaccines that they were giving us months ago, and the fact that they wanted you to do it 3 weeks apart and all that, it wasn't as effective as they hoped it would be, especially with this Delta variant. Nobody knew. Get it? Fine. And then you have parts of Canada where we're also experiencing the same thing. And due to the screw up here with inventory and whatever, they didn't give it to people 3 weeks apart. They gave it 8 weeks apart, 12 weeks apart. And many people were successful and lucky to be able to be safe and secure for a little bit while longer. And if we look at the cases that we're getting here, over 90% of these cases are for people who were not properly vaccinated, and only a handful of the people who were fully vaccinated, and stuff happens. We know stuff happens. What they were telling us, the governments were telling us, and what the medical experts were saying was that the numbers are going to double every 10 days. And luckily here in Canada, we haven't experienced that. We're very, very fortunate, and thank God for that. So where am I going with all this? Well, back to school is happening. That's right. If your young ones have gone back to school, elementary, high school, then you're looking at kids who, especially if they're in elementary, under 12 years old, there's no vaccine for them. And that's not what I'm here to talk about today, but there's a very significant concern there. And you got your high school kids who are hopefully going to be in a bubble, and we won't be dealing with problems with them. Where's the problem going to lie when it comes to the back to school? Believe it or not, the university level. That's right, the university level. Now, you would think these are adults, right? If you're going off to university, 18, 19 plus, you've been fully vaccinated, hopefully, or you've been vaccinated, or whatever, and you should be going off back to school. So where's the concern at? Well, let's take a look at what the institutions have done. In the United States, over 700 colleges and universities have insisted that anybody who comes to the campus must be doubly vaccinated. That's right, fully vaccinated. What does that do for Johnson & Johnson with the one? I don't know. But they want people to come back to the school fully vaccinated if you're on campus. You don't want to get vaccinated? Many of these schools are saying, stay home. We'll give you a remote access, but stay home. We don't want you there. Why? Safety for the students, safety for the faculty and staff. Of course, that's what they're trying to do. We don't want to create a super spreader event with on-campus events. In Canada, we're seeing a significant number of those universities doing the same thing and applying the exact same demand that the students be fully vaccinated. And then there's the one outlier that blew my mind, and that's my old alma mater, McGill. I did my MBA there 9 years ago, and they've decided not to follow other universities in Canada and saying we are not going to insist on double vaccinations. In fact, they put in a mask policy. Yes, of course, masks have to be everywhere. But when it comes to on campus, in class, not necessary. I mean, let's think about it. You're a first-year university student. You're going in for your bachelor's. You're going into those level 100 classes, right? For those of you who've been there, you know it. It's an auditorium filled with students. By the way, McGill, tens of thousands of students. We're not talking about some little college of 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 students. When you're talking about a Psych 101, a Business 101 class, any of those 100 level classes, we're not talking about 20 students. You're talking hundreds, if not over 1,000 students. I mean, let's think about it. That this auditorium will be cramped with students. The teacher look this big with a microphone, students up the auditorium. And imagine you're sitting there, you're the first year student, you're 19 years old, you've just gone through the orientation week, Frosh week, best week, by the way, in university. And then you come into class, and A is the person next to you, more than 3 feet, 6 feet away from you. And then you find out that that person may or may not be fully vaccinated. How do you feel? I mean, listen, 18, 19, 20-year-olds believe they're invulnerable anyways. Doesn't make a difference. But I don't believe that this is the right move by McGill University. I think that they're putting students at risk, staff, faculty at risk by insisting we don't have to deal with it. Now, I'm going to tell you, I teach part-time at McGill, and I've been told, but if you're the professor, if you're the lecturer, then you need to wear a mask and you got to be this far apart. And there's a slew of details of what they are expecting from the professors to do or the lecturers or whatever to do. But I mean, the reality isn't just about me. And by the way, I need to have office hours too. I need to offer office hours so that students can come visit me in an office. But I'm not allowed to ask if they're doubly vaxxed. They'll wear a mask and they may sit 6 feet away from me, but I can't tell them that I can't, I need the double vaxxer. No, can't do that. In class, I can't, I can't tell a student, and they're going to sit close to each other and put other students potentially at risk. Now, you might say, but David, Canadian students, most of them are going to probably be double vaxxed anyways. No. Let me go back to my MBA program. The vast majority of the students that I attended this program with were not Canadian. South American, Southeast Asian, European students, African students. And if you're telling me that they're fully vaccinated, I'm not so sure. Now, multiply the MBA program by thousands of other students from all over the place who've come here on exchange programs, who are coming here for full time from other parts. And you're telling me that we should be okay that they may or may not be fully vaccinated? That makes zero to no sense whatsoever. And it is beyond shocking that McGill University has suddenly decided we're not going to do this. The professors are not too thrilled. We've got a McGill law professors who are literally looking at the legalities behind it and saying, absolutely, there is an obligation to mandate these vaccines for on-campus attendance. That's right. They've simply are going. I mean, could you imagine the law professors at McGill suing McGill? I mean, it's a workplace problem for them, for other students. In what freaking world is McGill caught up in that they will? I mean, God, dare I say, is this about money? Are they worried about students not attending because they're, I'm not doubly vaxxed, so therefore I can't go to on campus, so therefore I won't come to McGill? If that's the motivation, we have a real problem. Serious problem. And McGill should be called out on it. Queen's University, Western, U of T, other schools, prominent schools, UBC in Canada are doing the same thing. All the Ivy League schools in the United States, all these prominent schools, McGill likes to say that they like to play in the international world. Excuse me. They like to say that they're one of the top universities in the world. Every ad you see floating on Facebook or, the Maclean's magazine or every the magazines, they're so proud to say how they're the top university in the world. And yet here they are acting as irresponsibly as possible because they're not helping out. They're not doing the right thing. Instead, what they're doing is they're telling you, we simply do not care. We want the students on campus. We don't care if they're double vaxxed. Are you kidding me? If I were to go to McGill right now, I might consider transferring. I might consider another school. I might consider just staying at home and then looking to get out of McGill because hey, I want the on-campus experience. I mean, don't get me wrong. I did my undergrad. I did a postgrad. I have to tell you, on-campus experience is awesome. Being in class beats being on Zoom. Telling you a bit on both sides. It sucks for a professor to teach on Zoom, and it sucks for a student to be on Zoom. It's way better to be in class. The interaction with students, the interactions with professors, the ability to do, to be, to feel, to touch, to understand. It's better in a presential mode than in a remote mode. But at what cost? We've seen that the younger people who get COVID, especially those who are not fully vaxxed, end up much more seriously sick, hospitalized. And here you're putting this risk that you'll find an individual who's not fully vaxxed will connect with a person who's not fully vaxxed, and bang, you've got yourself a problem. Are you going to shut down classes like we used to do in elementary and high school? That if there was a kid in the class who got, COVID, that the class was shut down, the teachers stayed home, everybody went for COVID tests? Could you imagine finding out that in that 100 level class of 1,000 students, there is somebody we found out that had COVID? Maybe we will, and maybe we won't even find out because God knows how the information will get distributed. But think of the students in that classroom who found out that one of the students in their room had COVID. And now you're going to have hundreds of kids who are going to go off and get a COVID test thanks to McGill's irresponsible manner. Now, if the student was doubly vaxxed and came in, there's not thing one you could do about it. We get it. But to knowingly allow students who are either singly or not vaxxed at all, especially those coming in from outside of Canada, and you're letting them on campus, you're the cause of a super spreader event. God help you. God help McGill. God help any institution that permits this. Now, there are American schools that are no different. They're saying live and let live. We're not going to stop people. We're coming in on campus, live and let live. I don't buy it. It's not my style. I got doubly vaxxed. I have to wear a mask everywhere I go. I respect other people. That's my philosophy. And I don't buy into the whole thought that I got to force people to get doubly vaxxed. That's your decision. But if you're going to come to my office today and you're not doubly vaxxed, I'm not letting you into my office. I won't risk my employees getting sick. By contrast, no school in their right mind should do the same thing. And McGill is consciously permitting students who are not doubly vaxxed to come on campus. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Now, you could tell me, David, there's no way to enforce it. There's no way. What are we going to put scanners in front of the classroom so that people are going to scan their QR code to make sure that people are doubly vaxxed? I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know how they're going to do it. But philosophically, why would you risk the student body? Why would you risk the faculty and the staff? I mean, why would you do this? We wear masks, and we may use Purell to the nth degree. It's no guarantee we're going to be fine. But you're letting students on campus, singly or not vaxxed at all, to roam around campus, to interact with students, to be in the classroom within such a distance from another student is irresponsible, unconscionable, and it makes no sense. Considering the philosophy that McGill stands upon, this makes no sense to me whatsoever. McGill, it's time to rethink your policies. It's time to stop looking at your wallet and your economics and your financial statements. Stop looking at the fact that those foreign students add more. Oh my God, we get more tuition out of them. So therefore we want them here. I don't care if they're vaxxed or not. BS. Put on your big boy pants. Start thinking smarter. Do not do this to your student body. It may come back to hurt you. Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached that quarter hour right now, where I'm happy to say that it's now the weekend. That's right. And I'm hoping that you have yourselves all a really fabulous weekend. Stuart will be back here hopefully on Monday. We're going to be tackling the notion of the labor shortage. Ask yourself this question. Is what we're experiencing right now fair? That people are staying home, paid to stay home, at the cost of rising employment costs and your expenses going through the roof because we can't find employees. Think about it, and we'll talk about it on Monday. Have yourself